Hey, great students, Billy Starkey here, coming at you from my very own office in my home because we're all stuck in our homes. That's just the way it is right now because we got this self-quarantine thing. We've got this social distancing going on. And man, I just got to let you guys know, I miss you so much. I love you guys. We all miss you with the Great Students team. We wish we could still be getting together. I mean, on a regular Sunday night, there'd be like 100, 200 of us together just worshiping God and being in groups. It'd be amazing. While we can't do that, we want you to know that we are here for you. Anything you need, we're here for you. You're not alone. You've got people who are for you. And if you reach out to us, man, we're going to be connecting with you. So if there's anything you need, send us a message, text a leader. If there's something we can pray for, send it our way because we're totally going to be here for you as best as we can. You know, I'm bummed personally that we're not having church in the church building for a while because I just love church. I mean, I grew up on church. I love our church, and I love the church I grew up in. It's a little bit different. It was a smaller church. My mom used to say that my grandpa's grandpa started the church in a tent. I mean, at least that's what I remember. I mean, it's that kind of church. We had a flannel graph, if anyone knows what that is, for our messages in Sunday school. And when we went up to the main service, there was a choir up front with my grandma in it in a robe. I mean, that was the sort of church I grew up in. I loved it. And really for me, church was not an option growing up. It was like non-negotiable. Maybe your parents are like this, your grandparents, but my mom didn't make church something we could choose to do or not do. It was like, you're going to church. If I wanted to kind of play sick like I would if I wanted to skip school, my mom would not have any of that. She would get me in the car. She'd get me to service. That's just how I grew up. And so I love church so much. And that's going to make what I'm about to say, I think, a little bit awkward. It might be a little hard to believe what I'm about to tell you. It might catch you a little bit off guard. But I want you to hear it directly from me. And here it is. Here's the message for you. Don't go to church. That's my message. Don't go to church. I mean it. Don't go. Don't show up. I don't want you to go to church. There's two reasons. The first one is this thing called the coronavirus. Maybe you've heard of it, but it's kind of causing us to keep our distance right now, and having a bunch of high schoolers and middle schoolers from Wayne County getting all together might not be the best idea. But the real reason I'm telling you to not go to church is because church actually has never been about a place you go to. It's always been about the person that you are. You know, church actually isn't about the where, it's actually about the who. And church has never been about a building, it's always been about a body, a group of people who all believe in the same thing, who have the same mission, and who are going after it together. You know, when Jesus was on this earth, one of the things that he said was, I will build my church. And he did that after Jesus went to the cross and died for the sins of the world, and then was buried and then rose from the grave. After that, the church began, and the church really was Jesus' representatives on the earth. And that's what we are today. If you're a follower of Jesus, you are a representative of Jesus right where you're at. And so as a representative of Jesus, church really isn't about a place that you go to once a week and you sit in and you hear some music and you listen to a message. Church is actually about you living out the mission of Jesus. And so at the very beginning of the church in Acts chapter 2, you can open up there, we're going to read verse 46. We read about how they did church. And it was a lot different than how we do it today. And I think sometimes if you go look back at the original, you can learn a lot and maybe remind you about how you should be living today. And so in Acts chapter 2, if you're there, we're going to look at verse 46. It says this, it says, every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread, listen to this, in their homes, and they ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people, and the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. See, at the very beginning of the church, they would gather together in larger groups, but they also would meet together in homes. That's really how the church started, in each other's homes. And where are we stuck right now? In our homes. And so this is really where church can continue to happen. You don't have to go to church to be the church. And in fact, if you're taking notes, if you got a journal, write that down. Don't go to church. Be the church. Don't go to it. Be it. Wherever you're at, be the church. Church really has three purposes. There's three reasons church exists. At least three primary reasons. Here's the first one. Church exists to worship God. Church exists to praise God, to give him the glory he deserves, for people to get together and to just worship God for who he is. Here's some really cool news. You can worship God right from your own home. You don't have to go to church to do that. Man, it's so good for us to get together when we can, but while we can't, let's still invest in our relationship with God. A couple ways you can do that. You can get in the Bible and read the story of God. Start in the book of Mark. This week we read Mark 1 through 5. Tomorrow we're going to read Mark 6. If you haven't read yet, just read Mark 1 through 5 and catch up, or just start in Mark 6. And then on our Instagram, every day during the week, Monday through Friday, at noon, we have a little thing we call 5 Minutes of Fire, where a leader or a student leader is going to be on leading a short time explaining what we read that day. And so you can still invest in your relationship with God through reading the Bible. You can do it through praying, through talking to God, just telling him about what's going on in your life. You can do it through worship. And we've got these playlists we've created on Spotify. We release one every week that goes along with the message. And so you can follow that. You can worship God right from your own home. That's the first purpose of church. But here's the second one. The second purpose is to connect with believers. The church exists for believers to come together and to make each other better, to encourage each other, to pray for each other, to challenge each other. And we do that every Sunday night, and we're going to keep doing that every Sunday night. That's why we're launching e-groups. E-groups are an amazing way for you to still have community even though you're in your own home. So all you have to do is download an app called Zoom, text your group leader if you have one, and if you don't have a group leader, message us, because we will get you connected to an e-group. They're happening Sunday nights at 7. They're going to be an amazing time of community. It's going to be a ton of fun. You've got to get in an e-group, and here's why. Because the enemy wants to isolate you. He wants to believe that you're alone. He wants you to believe that no one cares. And when you're in that place, it's really hard to follow God. And in fact, you oftentimes make some really bad decisions. Instead of getting isolated, you got to believe God's truth that there are people who are for you and want to be with you. Get in an e-group, get in community. That's going to help you during this time so much. Here's the third purpose of the church. Third purpose of the church is to serve others. You can serve others this week. You can serve them this whole time that maybe we're self-isolating or whatever it may be, in some really simple ways. I'd encourage you to serve your family. Ask how you can encourage your mom and dad. Maybe they're stressed out right now. Maybe you need to help out a little more around the house. You can serve them. You can serve a friend by reaching out to someone who might be lonely and saying, hey, I'm here for you. Hey, I love you. Hey, how can I pray for you? Hey, I'm getting on Warzone later. I'm getting on Fortnite later. I'm going to be playing some Madden. Do you want to play with me? Hey, do you want to join my e-group? That would encourage someone so much. But here's an awesome way you can serve the world. You can serve others. It's just by stepping across the street to your neighbor's house or down the sidewalk. Knock on their door, step off the porch, give them 6 feet of separation, and then when they come to the door, just say, hey, I want you to know that I live next door, and if there's anything you need during this time, I'm here for you. In fact, we've connected with some folks in our church who are a little bit older, who might be shut in during this time, and they're going to need some help running errands. They're just going to need someone to call and check in on them. If you want to be a part of that kind of ministry, just message us and we're going to get you connected. Those are all things that you can do to be the church right where you're at. You don't have to go to church to be the church. And in fact, Jesus in Matthew 16, I talked about it earlier, he said, I will build my church. He's building it. The church is not going to end just because we can't meet in a building for a while. Jesus started it. Buildings cannot contain it, and a virus certainly won't stop it. So go be the church wherever you're at. We'll see you next week.